is a program that funds high-quality research, the highest quality research in the world, on economic growth issues in low-income countries, with a potential for impact on policies. And it funds around, it has funded around 40 projects, divided in about 4 themes. So themes on agriculture and growth, there's a theme on innovation and growth, there's a theme on finance and growth, and there's also a theme on China, Africa as well. And we think that it's really important to maximize the impact of this high quality research. And the researchers themselves, who are many of them who are here in the audience, will come and speak about their projects in the context of their peers and policymakers and the senior guests here. And we think it's really important that there's the opportunity to maximize the impact of their research. And just to give you an example of why it is so important that this research is taking place. I came in from yesterday from a workshop in Tanzania, which was organized by one of the research organizations in Tanzania, the AERC-DEGRP. And there was a workshop trying to help the government to implement the next 5-year development plan. And they've highlighted industrialization as an important topic. And they're now thinking about implementation, and they need the high-quality evidence of particular sectors to inform them of what it is that they need to be next. What are the constraints to particular subsectors and to growth in these sectors? What are the policy suggestions that need to be taken on board? And there was one of the projects was represented there from RAPOA, and the project led by Professor Maureen McIntosh and Professor Mwango were there to explain also about the importance of, for example, here the pharmaceutical sector and for industrialization and the importance of industrial policy. So it's the availability of the high-quality research that's been undertaken over a number of years to inform policymakers at the right time, which is really relevant for this program. The program and the concept note that you will have all seen is centered around 3 topics, 3 types of research questions, all centered around sort of the importance of economic transformation. So we think it's important to think about the role of agriculture in economic transformation. What are the barriers to innovation in agriculture? How can smallholders be linked to global markets? And what is the institutional framework to guide the agriculture transformation? Secondly, it's important to think about the financial sector as countries transform. How can the financial sector be regulated, be developed to provide finance, to create economic opportunities for all, but also to avoid boom-bust cycles that we've seen in many other countries. A financial crisis, how can this be avoided? And in terms of innovation, we're interested to think about where does innovation happen? And it's very often in unexpected corners. It happens everywhere here and there. And it's important to think around this. And of course to think about what are the policies and institutions that can help to promote this innovation. And just to give you a flavor of some of the topics that we're likely to hear, there's an important research project on the importance of structural change for productivity change and economic opportunities for all, which is showing that moving from low productivity sectors to high productivity sectors is really important, and some of that may not have happened in low-income countries. It's gone the other way around. So trying to promote activities from going from agriculture to manufacturing to high-quality services is really important to undertake this. There's also a project that looks much more in deeper detail, that thinks about, it's not just important to think about moving from low to high productivity sectors, but also even within sectors, it's important to go from low productivity to high productivity firms, but also even go further within firms that productivity differs. The big garments firms have low productivity, high productivity lines, and that offers lots of opportunities for economic transformation to take place. So there's lots of there's a role for policy here to promote transformation. There are a range of projects that think about the importance of global collaboration, competition to stimulate innovation. But there are also some projects that think about the importance of industrial policy, and that's come back on the agenda. And that high-quality research body like the AERC, that partners with the AERC in this research on thinking through why and how industrial policy can help to stimulate innovation, and why this is now important is really a key point to make. And then there's research that tries to uncover whether it's possible to predict financial crisis or fragility in banks. So they're looking at data in detail, monitor it, and think about the predictive power that particular indicators have for fragility in the African banking sector. Well, that's of course really important if we can provide policymakers with some tools and certain indicators to predict fragility. That's a really important topic to be put on policy agendas. So, and there's also more evidence on the link between finance and growth that is taking place. So, lots of varied research to be looking forward to hearing on during this conference. Thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you.
So, there were a lot of people disenfranchised from the financial sector. That's why I do believe that this theme is very important, because over the years we see that poverty is becoming pervasive in rural areas where 3/4 of Africans are living. This said, I would like to emphasize what was said already about UK, to insist on the proactive role of UK in development area. We had a conference in Antalya in May regarding the LDCs, and it was recognized that UK is among the countries who are very proactive, trying to put priority on development aid versus security aid. Some donors are insisting on fighting terrorism. That's right. But as the Chief of Staff of France put it, you may win the war, but lose peace. So to win peace, you have to work for development. That's why I think that we have to appreciate the role of UK, and I'm happy that DFID is here. I would like also to say a few words about AERC. AERC is not only a think tank. It's unique. It's Pan-African. AERC is combining research, training, but also policy. As it was said by Lema, AERC was supposed to actually inform policy making, but eventually AERC ended up to produce policy makers. This was an unexpected outcome of the AERC activities. It was designed in the first place to inform policy making, but actually it produced many policy makers. And Uganda is one of these policy makers. We have policy makers, a wide range of policy makers everywhere in finance ministries, central banks, and line ministries. It is in this context that the 5-star Transparency Award was conferred to AERC in 2016 for the third time in a row. And this didn't come as a surprise given the quality of the activities of AERC. I do believe that this award deserves a round of applause. So please. So congratulations for your 5-star, and you should remain there, please. Now 28, AERC has successfully passed the sustainability test. Very often, we create institutions in Africa, they develop and they die. Fortunately, AERC has survived. AERC went through some crises, but today I'm happy to see that AERC has been able to retain traditional partners that are from developed countries. More importantly, AERC has engaged with African institutions that was said by Lema, central banks, Ministry of Finance, regional institutions, the ADB, the ACBF, big countries like Nigeria. I do believe that this is very important for the sustainability of AERC. We should not remain only recipients of aid. We should take ownership of the research of AERC. So I'm happy that today Africans are members of AERC. Usually when we went to meetings, there were member meetings. In this member meeting, there were only developed countries. But today, in member meeting, we have Africans around the table. And this also has to be recognized. For the future, as it is proposed in the new strategy, I wish to encourage AERC to strengthen its ties and cooperation with the private sector, which will be the engine of growth in Africa in the years to come. AERC should also continue to find innovative ways and means to be responsive to emerging economic and social issues on the continent. But given the complexity of these issues, AERC cannot do the work alone. That's why I'm happy that there is this collaboration with such distinguished institutions as DFID and AERC. I do believe that AERC and its partners will be able to propose innovative solutions for our countries. But we should be mindful that the continent is faced with daunting challenges, particularly population growth, climate change, insecurity, which may result, amongst others, in land and water scarcity, food insecurity, hunger, poverty, and fragility. Agriculture development is at the heart of most of these challenges. Almost 3/4 of African populations live in rural areas and depend on agriculture for their livelihoods. As a result, innovation in agriculture may have a major impact on food security, hunger, and poverty reduction. Innovation in agriculture is not only about extension services, better fertilizers, seeds, or yield. It has to do also with risk and cost mitigation financing models. Lessons learned in financial models in rural area may, under certain circumstances, be replicated for poor population in urban areas. Likewise, including financing models such as mobile banking, microfinance implemented in urban areas may be replicated in rural areas. It is encouraging to know that scaling up access to finance for agricultural SMEs and financial inclusion are highly tabled on the agenda of the G20. The last one was on agriculture. The next one will be financial inclusion. It is my sincere hope that the collaboration between AERC and DFID and your deliberation may constitute an important milestone toward finding innovative solutions for agriculture and financial inclusion. Let's be mindful that the latest regional outlook by IMF points out that economic growth rate is declining in sub-Saharan Africa due to the poor performance of oil-exporting countries. This is a strong wake-up call for economic diversification and for paying more attention to agriculture. Thank you for your attention.